Good morning, everyone. This is Mary. You're watching another little piece of my art. Today, I'm going to flip through this Zen Doodling by Carolyn Scrace book. I have two of her other books, flip-throughs of them. I'm not sure if they're on the channel yet because I am filming these all kind of at the same time. So check there. And also, I will put the link to where you could find this book if it's still available in the description. So this one is just basically Zen Doodling. She also has Zen Doodling Mandalas and Zen Doodling elements like air, earth, fire, and water kind of a thing. So in this book, she's just going to break down steps and how to Zen Doodle. And Zen Doodling was popular, really popular. It kind of exploded a few years ago. But I still like it. And I think that in a lot of times when you're in a coloring book or in a journal or any kind of piece of artwork that you're working on, there are times when you're going to have these empty little spaces here and there, and it just looks weird. And I think this is a great technique to learn to fill those spaces in, because really anybody can do this. It's not taking any fabulous talent. It's just basic shapes. And I think what stops a lot of people is just not knowing what shapes to use, how to repeat the patterns. And so for cases like that, this is a great book to have. Now you can find this information online, I am sure. I used to save boards all the time on Pinterest with Zen Doodling samples on there. So you don't have to purchase the book to be able to do this. I just purchased a book to be able to do this because I like the actual physical copy of a book in my hands. I like to be able to work on something and shut the book, and then I'm going to come right back and it's going to be there, instead of always having to look it up on your phone, or when you make a screenshot, then your phone screen times out, and it's just, I don't know, for me, I personally prefer to use a book. But of course there are people that don't. They feel the exact opposite way about it. They prefer to get everything online, and that's fine too. This one is really cool, isn't it? Kind of looks like rocks in a path of a garden. So once again, these are just going to be patterns that you can make to fill in spaces in a Zen Doodle. So you can have a huge Zen Doodling pattern and use these to fill in, or like I said, you could need something to fill in a really small spot, and the same kind of thing would apply. And so here's your steps on getting started. She's using like a kind of a landscape theme here, or what I think of as a landscape: mountains and then a sun rise or set. And that's, a way that you can get started just to get your feet wet. She's talking about light and shade here. We're going into tools, and as I said in the other video, one of the other videos, what I like about this Zen Doodling just in and of itself is the fact that it's very portable. You could get yourself a small art journal, like a moleskin journal or something, and a couple black pens, and you could really be on your way with it. So if you travel a lot, or you just don't want to carry heavy items, I hate carrying heavy items around with me, but I love doing art. And I find myself a lot of times, when I'm going somewhere or something, trying to debate what to take. Do I need these colored pencils? Do I need this many markers? Do I need this? Do I need that? And a lot of times I don't use what I have brought because I'm doing other things. So with something as simple as Zen Doodling, like I said, you could bring some paper and a couple pens, even one pen really, and you'll have the ability to be artistic without having tons of things. And then you can always practice when you're away, or at the doctor's office, practice your patterns, and then come back when you're in your own space later, and make things like this colored beautiful creations. So in all of her books that I have, she does talk about getting a compass and a protractor, which I also agree that they're great tools to have. I do not like these plastic protractors. Or I forget which one is which. Okay, that's the compass and that's the protractor. I do not like the plastic compasses that they sell now. I have one, but I don't like it as much as the stabby metal ones that were around when I was a kid. Symmetry is really important in making mandalas. I discussed this in the mandala flip book. That's what stopped me, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't progress with this thing for a while, and I realized it was because I was not taking the time to make sure everything was symmetrical. And you'll be glad you did later on, because if it's not symmetrical, if it's asymmetrical and you can't fit everything into the mandala the way you want it to make it look balanced, then you're just gonna really be upset with yourself later. So she does talk about snowflake mandalas in her other books as well. Must be a design she enjoys. Here's one. Making the circle of life. This is pretty cool. And then I guess you could put in there your own. I gotta take my glasses off. Most people have glasses to see. I need to take mine off to see. Does that mean my prescription is wrong? So here's a circle of life, and you could put into these sections what the important things are for you. Obviously, we're all going to be different in terms of, do we have love? Do we have health? Do we travel? Do we not? You know. Here's one for goals. These are mind mapping. So I think it's just basically trying to show you that you can use what you learn with the Zen Doodling in all kinds of different things. It doesn't have to just be a piece of, art that you're going to frame and keep. It can be in other areas. If you are a bullet journaler, you can use this in your bullet journals. That's so pretty, isn't it? Really like that. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. Trying to keep everything very balanced will make your end product so much nicer. Sun and moon. So this one was also in the Mandalas book. I would say, you guys, if I'm being honest, if you're going to buy any of the three, this one might be the best because it has a little bit of what's in the other books in here. Whereas the other books are just kind of taking off more on each of these topics. Like the mandala book has this very mandala in it, but it's all mandalas. So personally, I like this book the best now that I am actually flipping through it. Because, like I said, it does have the same ideas and tips. She's just basically expanded the knowledge into, oh, I love this, into 3 books. This is so cool. It reminds me of that coloring book. Oh, Circle, wait, what is that one called? I can't remember, but you guys might know what I'm talking about. Here's some architecture doodles. I just think this is the coolest idea. I'm going to have to look at this further and figure out how to do this before I go on my trip. Because I'm not taking any of these books with me on my trip. But I thought what I would do is flip through them. If there's anything that I want to try or learn, I'm just going to take a picture of it. And then while I'm there, because I am just taking a very small amount of items with me. And I'm going to do a video and show you what I'm bringing with me. I know nobody asked, but I'm doing it anyway. Here's a mixed media tree. Very cool. And then, again, this was in one of the other books as well. This is a fun exercise to do. Just take your pencil and, like when we were kids, and make a design. And then go back in and fill it with the patterns that you learn here. I think that's really, really cool. And she also has this cat idea expanded in the mandala book. If you want to make an animal inside a mandala, she does explain how to do that in the Zen Doodle Mandalas. Here she's going into some kind of copying some famous art, Klimt, and how to do that. Very cool. Here's some inspiration from things as simple as, you know, wheels, rims, and lights from a car. Here's some techniques. So she's talking about backgrounds. I can't see. Okay, ink on watercolor and paint dripping. Resists. She talks about resists in another book, and you could do this without buying anything at home. Well, if you have just the basic art supplies, you can draw something with your white crayon and then wash over it with some watercolor, and the white crayon will act as a resist, and then every place where you put the white crayon, the watercolor will not stick. So it's a very fun exercise. I remember doing that one in school, like high school art, not college. Here's printmaking. Metal tray, embossing. Okay, copying and enlarging. We talked about this in another video as well. There are apps. If you ever want to figure out how to draw something, there are apps that you can put your photo in, a picture in, whatever picture you pull out, something from the internet or, you know, your own picture that you've uploaded. And the app will put a graph lined over it. And then you take your own piece of paper that you want to draw it on, and you make the same graph. You just have to have the same number of squares. It doesn't have to be the same size, because remember, you're changing the size. That's the whole point. You can go up or down. That's what she's talking about there. This is cool. This is a poster. This is the kind of stuff that my dad made when I was a kid. He had a giant poster that he had framed, and it sat over the kitchen table of his house when I was little, and it was a profile of a lady, and all the things inside her mind. Like, that was the biggest part of the poster, was like the top of her brain, her head. I love that poster so much, and I wanted it so bad, and he lost it. Thanks, Dad. So here's some tags. You can use practice your newfound abilities on some gift tags, right? Or bookmarks, things like that. Here's a collage. What is that? Oh, okay, so they're using aluminum foil as the rings. It's a different idea. I hate the feeling of cutting foil, though. It's not awful. It makes my teeth hurt. And then here's all your patterns. Very pretty. Here's some examples of working on black paper with white. I think most of us have a white gel pen or our white Poscas, so that's a fun exercise. Using your hand. And then, you know, she goes into some items that you can make. Zen doodling on your shoes, you know, on housewares here, making cards. Rocks and bottles. A Zen Doodling journal, which I think is a cool idea, because if you learn how to make a pattern and you don't record it somewhere, then every time you want to make that pattern again, unless you've memorized how to do it, you're going to have to go back and try to, you know, find it again. So it'd be nice to have a Zen journal, a Zen Doodling journal, where you record every new pattern that you learn, and that way you can use it for reference when you want to go back and recreate it. So here we have some portraits. like using the baby's picture as your foreground, your main, you know, object of the picture, and then Zen doodling around it. I think that's a really cute idea. Super cute. Wouldn't somebody love to receive something like that, like, you know, in a frame or on a card? I think. Here she goes into fabrics and the alphabet. Of course, you can change this any way you want it, but this at least gives you a template on forming your letters. And you could always copy these so that you have them in your computer, and you can resize them if you want to use them. And then back here we have the glossary, and you're going to get an index in the back. So there you go, guys. That is the whole collection of Carolyn Scrace's Zen Doodling, or I should say the ones that I own. I hope you have enjoyed this series. And like I said, check the description, and I will put these in there if I have access to finding them on Amazon or eBay. So thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.